Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with Jay Unboxing here, giving you a couple of personal predictions here for both Gilberto Ramirez versus Sullivan Barrera, as well as Joseph Diaz versus Javier Fortuna, which is taking place on Friday. And before we get started, just remember this is just my take. Yours can be left down in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Starting off, we're going to go with the main event first, and that's Ramirez versus Barrera. No title on the line in this light heavyweight clash. It's taking place at the Bank of California Stadium in Los Angeles, as mentioned, on Friday, with DAZN airing the telecast. And it's an interesting sort of crossroads battle between a former world titleist in Ramirez, who previously held gold at super middleweight, and Barrera, who has gotten close but not quite to the very top of light heavyweight. However, as the perhaps naturally bigger man with decent pop and solid skills, he poses a solid test for Ramirez as his first real, lively opponent at 175 pounds. So, without much more fussing here, let's get into this one. For Barrera to win, I think he needs to win the battle of coming forward. And this is going to be a theme in this fight here. Barrera can box a little bit, of course, but sometimes will look to circle and counter as he does. The problem is that that's not his strength, in my opinion. He's much better trying to take the fight to someone and land something meaningful on the front foot. However, Ramirez will be looking to do the same thing. He's looking for that same real estate. So Barrera will need to find ways to push the Mexican back, use angles, which Sullivan has in his toolbox if he tries to use them. Throw Ramirez off balance. This will make your shots be more meaningful and obviously have more of an impact as you kind of create the space you need to press forward in the fight. I would also say that there's a right place and right time for the right uppercut. A particular shot on the inside that can work for Barrera will be that right uppercut. Why? A few reasons. For starters, Ramirez likes to stay inside and bend slightly at the waist, kind of crouch over, leaving himself susceptible to that uppercut. He also employs an earmuffs defense, which always leaves more direct and underneath shots more available. But also, Barrera has a unique way of throwing that right uppercut. It's kind of torqued, a little twisted, if you will. It's a bit loopy, but it seems to work for him, which makes it hard to anticipate and thus all the more effective when it lands. For Ramirez to win, I think he needs to win the battle of coming forward. Yes, just like Barrera, Ramirez will look to be the man coming forward, and that is going to give him his best chance. Both have respectable enough pop that they could land well going backwards as well, but that's not the game plan. Ramirez will need to use volume, however, not so much angles to get this going for him, unlike Barrera. Barrera throws a decent share himself, but Ramirez will need to be, the stronger man, the more aggressive man, and he has a little bit more range on him. So this could mean that his more damaging shots are the ones that discourage Barrera from throwing or stepping in, giving Ramirez the open invitation to step forward. I would also say he needs to look to land those hooks to the body. And with most Mexican fighters worth a damn, a decent body attack will always be in the game plan. This is no different. This does so much for Ramirez here as well. It slows Barrera down further, who isn't this fast to begin with, and that's going to make it easier for him to hit and potentially bully him backwards. It also sets up the volume that I believe Ramirez needs, as Barrera may drop the guard and give you more chances upstairs for those combinations. Ramirez has shown okay power at 175 pounds, but attacking the body will make any shot upstairs count all the more, so you might as well employ it. As for my pick here, I am dangerously close to picking an upset in this one. I really think Barrera has a solid shot. I just get feelings like this sometimes. It's just hard to justify it, and as a result, I tend to go with my head over my heart. He is the naturally bigger man. He's kind of been at the weight longer, obviously, and he isn't a tomato can by any means. So, I mean, he has a shot. I lean towards Ramirez in terms of my kind of mental breakdown of this fight just a bit too much. And mainly that kind of shows up in his slightly faster, heavier hands and a bit longer reach, meaning that when they get into those exchanges that I expect to start happening early in this fight, Ramirez's shots are going to get there faster, and he can be a bit further out in a safer zone, especially because Barrera can loop his shots at times. So in a fairly evenly contested fight, I expect exchanges in the middle frames to go Ramirez's way and ultimately lead to a mid-fight stoppage for Gilberto. Ramirez via mid-fight stoppage, but I do have my reservations, I must say. And then, in perhaps the best fight of the night, we have Joseph Diaz versus Javier Fortuna in a lightweight clash with no title in the line, but a lot of title implications at stake, of course. And to me, this is the most compelling fight on paper, main event or not. Neither man had to take the fight, so they could have waited for title shots, but no, they actually chased it with opponents that are dangerous and not necessarily, a huge money fight for them, but it is a very attractive fight for fans, of course. They felt compelled to fight, one another, and kudos to them for that. Both have some things they could really, use to tip the scale in their favors, but they also have some flaws, of course, which makes for the best fights, and it's definitely an interesting one. So, without much more, let's get into it. For Fortuna to win, I think the left-hand counter could change the fight. While Fortuna has a solid offense and can throw a decent jab at times as well as a decent left hook, his best shot might actually come in the form of a straight left counter. When Fortuna is pushed back or takes a step back and unloads the shot, it comes out very naturally and is timed well. This means it gives him maximum effect. He doesn't have to force it, and the opponent typically is stepping into that shot as well, giving it that sort of double impact. And if he sets that trap properly, he could walk Diaz right into the perfect shot. I would also say for Fortuna, make the fight a little messy at times. Diaz tends to like to fight on the inside, but his work tends to be a bit cleaner, even at close range. So Fortuna might benefit from roughing him up a little bit more and kind of upsetting his rhythm rather. Use a forearm, tie him up, throw some shots at awkward angles. Just force Diaz to reset before he fires back. This also might set up the aforementioned left hand, as Diaz might be more prone to come forward a bit more excessively and recklessly if Fortuna gives ground after a minute or so of that messy inside fighting. Now for Diaz, I'd say don't smother your own work. As mentioned, Diaz does like an inside fight and will get inside that proverbial phone booth with him. However, if Fortuna does go and make it messier, Diaz will need to look to be a bit more patient and take that occasional step back to give himself room to land. Step to the side, press him back and throw. Force yourself to reset before Fortuna tries to. This way you're in control of the action and not playing catch up. That little bit of space can make all the difference in the effect your shots have on the night. I would also say rely on speed, not as much power. Diaz has respectable pop, but isn't a heavy-handed fighter, and he's moving up. So his game makes a lot more sense when he's looking to score and box well, as opposed to trying to take his foe's head off every single shot. This will make all the sense against Fortuna, as well as he's faster than Fortuna, and Javier has a solid enough beard, so why try to knock him out? Let it come if it comes. Use that speed advantage. Use some angles. Step to the side, as mentioned. Score some points and reset. Rinse, wash, and repeat. The stoppage will come if it's coming, but you're picking up the rounds along the way regardless. Again, another close one here where I can see it going either way. However, I do tend to favor Diaz in this one. He just has a little bit more to me, and I think he probably is going to really look to kind of rebound from some questionable performances, missing weight, things of that nature. And if he took it seriously, I do think he should win this fight. And don't get me wrong, there will be some close rounds, could even be a close fight overall. Hell, I could see Diaz going down, both of them as a matter of fact. But I think with the work rate and the pressure of Diaz, as well as the speed, it's going to allow for him to create some separation down the stretch, being busier and landing solid combinations late, and it will earn him a split or majority decision. Diaz via close decision. Betting odds getting into this in the main event, you have Ramirez as a heavy favorite at minus 910 with Barrera at a plus 600. Again, I'm not totally afraid of that 600 bet. I mean, I would put some small money on that. I just do get the sense that this could be one of those banana peels Ramirez doesn't see coming. No real money in it for Ramirez. I mean, you could maybe find an over-under that's potentially attractive, but if you do feel like me, maybe a little compelled to put some money on Barrera, there's some decent action there. In the co-featured bout, you have a good fight either way, and you have some better options there. You have Diaz as a slight favorite, really at a kind of minus 185 with Fortuna at a plus 190. Fortuna is a very attractive option here. I do think he has a shot. He's a natural lightweight as well. Diaz, I think, is probably the better fighter on paper and probably, as obviously, is expected to win, but, Fortuna's giving you some good odds there. If you are really a strong believer in Diaz here, 185 shouldn't necessarily scare you away as a favorite either. I mean, you could, get some half of your value in your bets there, and it's really not going to hurt too bad. It's a decent laydown either way for either fighter if you can justify it. Anyway, in any event, going into the weekend, my prediction record is 21-6-2 with 9 exact. And let me know what you guys have been running. What do you think of these fights? Are you excited for them? Which of them do you think is going to be the best fight? Who do you think is going to win? All that sort of stuff. Would love to hear that down in the comments as well. Any kind of bets, predictions, so on and so forth. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow at jcalderon_JOB. And you can email me at junboxing@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you there. Also, be sure to check out junboxing.com for schedule, results, betting odds, rankings, and more. And as always, until next time.